Now, moving on to the next, we will start to the core part of our program. Now is the time to hear from the first speaker on the topic academics. Before I give the time for her, I would like to give a brief intro about our first speaker. Academics dinoom topic bi Dr.Machunwangliu Inka managbiya thang nun Dr.Machunwangliu Inka, Assistant Professor, Film, TV, and New Media Production, SVKMS, Usha Prabin Gandhi College of Arts, Science, and Commerce, Mumbai. Dr. Machunwangliu Inka has a PhD in Communication from University of Hyderabad, currently a member of Communication, Culture, and Diversity Research Group, Oncoping University, Sweden. She has been certified as an expert of new learning technology by University of Applied Sciences, Furwagen, Germany. She was one of the 52 global mentors selected by Teachers College, Columbia University, New York for Teachers and Teachers Project. She is also an educational expert in global sharing and learning, an online tutor in e-learning development and implementation course, e-skill under GIG, German International Corporation, University of Philippines, Open University, University of the People, Pasadena, and California. She has a high profile and a good speaker. So mana academics ni topic ni lang sa nu nu lampuy ha mana right. Now I would like to give the time to Dr. Machunwangliu Inka.
Yeah. Thank you for the generous introduction, Atilo. Organizing committee and all the respected elders who are here, Kasano Khazin, and slides I'm loading more share to more.
Oh, share.
Okay. So Puichong le English ga switch to lang re ay Puichong ka biasa yebi Puichong ga dani bhab tablai atibeda mibeng na excuse that thanglo in between. I'll be switching Puichong and English. Full screen play to loading mo to ga slide ka. Okay, anyway.
Full screen so long.
View full screen browser भी ना play तो हमने बो.
A laptop भी save तो thanglo ga share to unwe.
PDF reader भी ना play तो भी full screen होंगे जो just like slideshow.
PDF viewer.
हमको PDF viewer भी ना cut.
PDF
play mode भी thangye भी ना.
No, today.
Maybe you can just minimize and make it visible. It's okay.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you. So academics, it's extremely broad tonosphere, and then again, academics, there are many areas of specialization. There are many fields like humanities, social science, pure science, or natural science, so on and so forth. Subject I'm from the communication and mass media background. Within my own subject bifurcation, subject specific but on a very general level. Academics be right hangne atilo tia screenshot screens kasi monokan be now sanruan I think younger generation school level only mudane atibeda. Maybe this particular sharing would be like more of sensitization so that details biba say because of the limitation of time atipai that the ni sensitized to be depending on which subject you are interested in, what area you are interested in, the Nina later on you can just push further and then try to develop yourself in those particular line. And then tun share to thangnu pointers being the organizers have it, and then the Nina Bathaye be you can ask from the organizers and they can circulate high PDF material that is available. So academics can be, of course, generally the focus would be on higher education, anya sharing. And if we speak of profession in academics, generally the planning, of course, school loitang lo +1, +2, 11, 12 loitang lo. When we start our undergraduate studies, postgraduate studies, there on the academia generally is referred to. So basically the focus today would be more on what we do plus after we finish our 11 and 12, when we go to the undergraduate and postgraduate level. And of course, Anya on presentation, the focus more will be on several scholarships that are available. Let's try to get all of those scholarships. Ani puiron reakpili hapai Marie Curie Fellowship hangno amroy, Ford Foundation Scholarship hangno amroy atilang, just to motivate you all. Not that the ni thai me tinume, but let's get scholars who are, scholars of Marie Curie Fellowship or Ford Foundation or so on and so forth that we will be mentioning today. So when we speak, just like I mentioned, humanities, social science, pure, branches, and besides that, of course, like IIT, IIM, Indian Management, I'm getting this notification that our internet stable. So if there is any issue, just let me know so that I will change the settings again. So, Anina Thaitangno, if possible, I'm sure our younger generations might be there who might have made. So younger generation, supposing maybe let's try to know and try to target for institution of reputes like IIT, IIM. Besides that, institution like IIC, Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore, Billy Ame, and then we have institutions like NISER, so on and so forth. Hi, screen minimize to and the next slide, the next slide, UGC, amno slide ka. UGC. So when it comes to Indian academics, Anina Thaye, the main body, you have the University Grants Commission and you also have the AICTE. AICTE basically is the body which looks into most of the technical education level. Atibeda, if anyone amongst us, the younger generation, is interested in technical education, the Nina Thaitangnoba for PG, postgraduate level, GATE and GPAT exam, ame. So basically GATE is a graduation aptitude test examination and GPAT basically has to do with pharmacy aptitude test. Hey, common exam, common test, joy, and based on that, in fact, there are postgraduate scholarships which are available for GATE and GPAT, and that way, the aim is, of course, always to clear most of these reputed examination and get hold of reputed exams like the one we have mentioned. It could be, say, for example, clear GATE or GPAT with a position for IITS or IISC. And as mentioned, academics, if we want to be a professional, of course, it's mandatory that we clear UGC net exam. Most of us must be aware, people who are in already doing their graduation or post-graduation. So generally the best time to give your net exam, when you try to for UGC University Grand Selection net exam, you also have the option of filling up the form for junior research fellow and senior research fellow. So generally, if you are in MA third semester, UGC NET, JRF, SRF, PINO, it's the best time to give your UGC NET and JRF, SRF exam. Atibeda, people who want to be into academics, who want to join as professors in higher education, of course, you know that NET is mandatory. Besides that, even post graduate jamak, you also need to be a PhD holder. UGC of new regulation has come, wherein you need to be a PhD or a doctorate. Atibida, that way you have these JRF and SRF scholarships which are available. If you can clear it during your NET exam, then you will directly get your PhD with JRF and SRF. And I'm sure Ania meeting be Ani Inpui Student Union members who might be benefiting from such scholarships. So you could be either applying for the university grants, UGC scholarship, or you could also be applying for ICSSR, board be Monudanga, Indian Council of Social Sciences Research, and you could be getting doctoral or postdoctoral fellowships. He may be like our next speaker who comes from the Ministry of Tribal Affairs. We also know that you have Rajiv Gandhi National Scheme, which will enable you to also be funded at the same time while you're pursuing your studies for doctoral studies. So I'm just repeating, if you are thinking of pursuing your career in academics, it's mandatory that you clear your UGC NET and also have your PhD. Even if you have not completed your PhD, it's okay. But then you try to get your PhD wherein you are also funded with scholarship opportunities. And currently, of course, the scholarship rates are also quite good. Many of our student members over here must be also aware, and of course, they will also be able to guide you. Can we go to the next slide? And we have several areas of specialization in terms of various, universities which are applying multidisciplinary forms. Slide B Monudanga, these are just some examples. The white notice that you see is a recent advertisement that came for several posts that are available. So you know that you have so many, specialized fields also available right now in food processing, in agriculture, in fashion technology, in corporate affairs, so on and so forth, as you can see on the slide. So it's important that, before you blindly just jump into the field of academics, try to find out what are you actually passionate about, what are you interested in, and accordingly choose your field in the undergraduate, postgraduate level, that is the master's level, and accordingly try to clear your NET exam. And then, of course, academics, it's not just about teaching. You can also go into the field of research. That is where it is important that you choose the right universities. I spoke to our students union members over the phone. Many of you are very well placed in institutes of repute like JNU. So I would encourage even the younger generations who are watching today to try to get into universities. It could be central or private, which have these kind of recognition and which also have these kind of eminence. Say, for example, I did my PhD from University of Hyderabad, and along with other institutes, of course, University of Hyderabad is also recognized as an institution of eminence. So when we say a university or an institute has tie-up with, international body, Aina PhD Tonuriaka, they have a tie-up with United Nations. In fact, the UNESCO chair for community media is placed in the school itself. So that is where, if they are research scholars, say for example, if anybody wants to do PhD, and if the person has the caliber and if the person is talented enough, directly get under UNESCO. So that is where the point here that I'm trying to say is try to identify institutions wherein you will be able to get these kind of linkage. When it comes to academics, one word of caution is, since education is something which is so essential, just like, our food that we eat in today's world. That's why we are even having this conference. Let us be careful in recognizing the right institution, because there are so many institutions which are also just for the purpose of money making. And it might sound glamorous, they might guarantee you a job, and your parents might end up, spending even lakhs of money, but at the end, the outcome or the product may not be as good. So that is where, when I mentioned, try to identify genuine institutions of reputation. So it becomes important before joining any institution to rightly see if an institution is properly, genuinely, actually functioning as an academic body, or it is functioning more like, using education as a business. Because that is where, if we are not careful, we might end up, landing an institution, spending a lot of money, but not getting any outcome of it. Okay, so as of now, of course, the safest way would be to be part of, institute of eminence, supposing like your seniors itself are in institutions like JNU, DU, or maybe even University of Hyderabad. Some of these central universities, they have several tie-ups which will help you. In fact, in University of Hyderabad, there are students who are part of the Erasmus program, also exchange programs, and they're going to, European countries as part of their master's program. So that is where, let's be a bit careful in identifying the right institutions which will help us grow, and not just take only the fees, because there are several institutions like that, especially in our country. And can we go to the next slide? So since I mentioned Erasmus, and like I said, today's focus would be, more on scholarships. Because the scholarships that we will be mentioning in today's program would be more of those reputed scholarship. One is, of course, while you're studying, you get paid for, your study is taken care for, but even being selected for these kind of scholarship is a reputed thing. It adds a lot to your resume. Okay, so that is where, the emphasis is on scholarship. And besides that, of course, you don't trouble your parents to pay you for your education. Instead, I have seen, many people who have even cleared Rajiv Gandhi scholarship or UGC, JRF, SRF scholarship, taking care of their family and sibling with the scholarship. Okay, so one, getting a scholarship is reputed. Okay, it adds a lot to your resume that you didn't just study, but you got selected for scholarships. And besides that, it takes care of lots of things, and it also gives you a lot of exposure. So one such reputed scholarship, I'm sure many of you must be aware, just that we need to get more people who, are actually beneficiaries of such scholarships. So you have this Erasmus Mundus scholarship, basically European related scholarship, wherein meritorious students will be exclusively selected for studies in European countries. Okay, so most of the scholarships that I'll be mentioning now will now go out. It's just that, we dream big, and then if you ever get selected for the scholarship, the sky is the limit, because the kind of exposure that you will get and the kind of, academic mind you will get will be of a different level. Okay, so that way, just let's be familiar, that is something known as Erasmus program, exchange program between European countries. And then try to aim for it, and then if you get it, you can also fund your master's program, you can go for your doctorate level, all funded, and then even go for postdoctoral level. So academics, when we say academics, it's not necessary that, if you mean academics, you have to become a teacher. No, you may be just, studying what you love to study, depending on what area you choose to study. You get paid for your studies, and then you continue studying and adding on to the body of that knowledge creation. Okay, and next slide, shall we go to the next slide? Monocyte that are available, and if we look at different scholarship categories, we can broadly categorize them as student specific scholarship, Atinuba, there are scholarships which will look at maybe gender, student specific, like there are scholarships specifically for women. There are scholarship basically for, specific category of gender. Okay, of course, now we have several types of gender. It's not just male, female, but we also have trans and the other gender, as we all know. Okay, so there could be gender specific scholarships, or there could be which target specific family of different income group. They are in fact scholarships which are specific to religion. Okay, religion as in there are scholarships which are specific to Muslim religion or maybe Christian religion. Okay, or it could be specific to race, like scholarships for Asians, scholarships for Europeans, or scholarships could be specific to medical history, maybe because of certain challenges that a particular student has faced. There could be scholarships available. So the point is, we need to be aware that there are several categories of scholarships, and some could be student specific scholarship. The major benefit that we get from our part of the world or our part of the country or state would be more on the line of developing country scholarship or minority scholarship, which of course we can make use of. Then besides being student-specific scholarships, we also have scholarships which are merit-based scholarship. Merit, as we all know, based on how good you are. Good maybe in terms of studies, or good also there are merit-based scholarships, as we all know, athletic category, sports category, or it could be artistic because you're creative in certain field, you will have merit-based scholarship. Then the other category could be on the line of subject-specific scholarship, like say for example, there could be scholarships for performing arts, dance area. Say for example, Ani Puiron area B, if anyone wants to study the performing arts of Inpui tribe, okay, there could be scholarships. Of course, there are, not could be. It's just that we have to identify. Okay, so there are specific scholarships which will try to groom those areas or groom those subject specifics. Okay, so there are subject specifics, and of course, definitely for IT and medical science, these are all subject specific scholarships. So depending on what you're looking at, you need to find out which category of scholarships you're looking at. And of course, again, there are program specific scholarship, like scholarship for undergrad, scholarship for postdoctoral or doctoral studies, or scholarship for master's studies. So there are program specific scholarship available. And then there are scholarship which are destination specific, like scholarship in European Union, as we have said, the first one, Erasmus Mundus, that is there, or DAAD DART is actually a German scholarship. So there could be scholarships which are specific to a particular place that you might want to go to. They will have their specific policies that will need to be catered to Atibida. So when you want to apply for scholarship, the things that you need to keep in mind is you need to do a research. If I'm trying to get a scholarship for my further studies after 11 12 for my bachelor's or for my master's or for my doctorate or for my postdoctorate, which category of scholarship am I looking for? Which country am I going to? What are the universities that are available? So first you need to do a research. In fact, to actually get any of these scholarships, you would at least require 2 years of proper planning and preparing yourself before you actually get any of these reputed scholarships. That is where I felt that it's good to be sensitized. Many of us might already be knowing it, but it's good to be sensitized so that we are well prepared. And I do hope that we have scholars from our community who actually get many of these reputed scholarships. Okay, so we need to do a research, start early, and also identify universities. Scholarship generally, you have bodies like DAAD, like the German body, which will give you scholarship. But before they give you scholarship, you need to be enrolled in a particular university. Okay, so that is where maybe you need to even identify university. Like say, for example, currently I'm associated with Jönköping University, and Jönköping University that's in Sweden. And they do have, provision for facilitating Marie Curie Fellowship, which actually comes from another country. Okay, so that way the whole idea is, before applying for a scholarship, you need to identify which university would you be positioned in, and whether that university has a tie-up with these kind of scholarships which are listed on the slide, so that it can be followed up, and you can actually get benefit of that particular scholarship. And besides that, of course, scholarship, if you're applying for scholarship, generally, of course, you need to give a good, genuine essay. Especially in foreign countries, you must have noticed and you must have seen, even in movies, they show that if people are applying for colleges or higher education, they generally write a good long essay, right? Showing what is their motivation factor as to why they should be selected in a particular university. So even that becomes important. And generally in foreign universities, it's not just the academics. Indian education system is just that, subject specific. We just study whatever is in the syllabus. We are so syllabus specific and we try to get good marks only there. But then if you're trying to apply for any of these, reputed scholarships, they will also try to look at the different angles, like your leadership skills, your involvement in social programs, NSS, program in several colleges. If you're join such programs, because if you're trying to apply abroad, all of these will come to help. If you have participated in different creative fields, like even let's say art, dance, or any other field, all of that will come to help you in terms, or even sports for that matter, will come to help you in all of these selection procedure. Okay, so the whole idea is, depending on what you want to do, which scholarship you want to apply for, start early, research, and find out whether it fits into your own bill or not. Okay, so the first slide is this one. We can go to the next slide. Several other scholarships are listed over here. Again, the next one, you will see Commonwealth, again, extremely reputed. Next slide, Sejar. I'm not going into the details, because if you just Google search, you will find their websites, and every year they will have specific criteria. Try to find out, whether it matches with what you're trying to look at. And like I said, need 2 years to prepare for, because some of these will have several tests, will come to TOEFL and TOEFL tests. So you need to clear certain basic requirements. So it's always good to know that such things exist and prepare yourself for that. Okay, so that way you have several scholarships. And like I said, when you think of an academic profession, it's not just teaching. Teaching, of course, is a noble profession, but it's not limited only to teaching, but you can go to research, you can go to consultancy, and you can also continue learning in academics and avail all of these project-oriented reputed scholarships. Okay, next slide, Serajo. Yeah, next slide. That one, that green one, you will stay there. So that way, even in terms of, no, go down. Go to that international scholarship for Indian undergraduate. Yes, this one. Yeah. So India has tie-up with several countries in terms of scholarships that can be made available. One such is the Tata Scholarship at Cornell University. This is a tie-up that India has with United States. And in fact, every year, the Tata Development Trust sends out 20 scholars to Cornell University in the US, basically for their undergraduate studies. So see, you can think about it. If you are in your +1, +2, there's no end to, what you can achieve, but you need to be aware. So there are, seats for 20 scholars every year to do their undergraduate studies in terms of this partnership that Tata has with Cornell University. And similarly, the next one, that is Dr. Manmohan Singh Scholarship. It is a tie-up with UK. This is specific to veterinary and medicine. So if some of you are interested in veterinary science and medicine, you can even avail this scholarship. Basically, it will cover your college and tuition fees, and it will also cover your traveling and living expenses. So the point is, if you know where it is, and if you're fortunate, if things work out well, your studies will be covered for, and you also add a lot to your resume by being selected for these kind of scholarships, and you get a different kind of a very good kind of exposure in terms of your studies. And the other one in terms of undergraduate study is Oxford Cambridge of India's tie-up again with UK. It has tie-up with specific universities in UK. Similarly, you have the next one, Edinburgh Napier University, and so on and so forth. Okay, so the So over here, you all can see and maybe search up and see if it applies to any area of your interest. And the last one that is listed over here out of the many is India for European Union Scholarship. And that way, this scholarship program is in association with several countries in Europe, which includes Italy, Spain, France, Germany, Portugal, Finland, and Sweden. So that means after your +1, +2, if you are prepared for it, you might even take a year to prepare for it. If you get selected, that's it. In terms of your academics, you're there in place. Okay, can we go to the next slide? The next slide actually speaks of national scholarship for women. So like I mentioned earlier, there are scholarships which are specific to gender. And sometimes, we women often have this privilege oftentimes. So some of the scholarships are listed over here. American Association of University Women has 6 different grants for women which are available in American universities, which will facilitate, students or scholars who would want to be part of any of their affiliated university in America. So if you belong to the female gender and if you want to study in the US, maybe you can check out this one. Besides that, the second one that is mentioned is the Scumberger Foundation. Again, this one will provide for scholarship at PhD and postdoctoral level for science, technology, and engineering in worldwide university. And the scholarship, I tell you, it's better than earning sometime in Indian currency. In a year, you will get $50,000 US. So $50,000 in a year would, if you convert it in Indian currency, it will be, it will be 36 lakhs 45,000 approximately, or 46,000 approximately. So this is much more than, what some of our senior people earn here in India. Okay, so that's where I'm saying, you can be doing PhD, but you could, in terms of, it's not just about the money, but it's also about your learning. And in fact, being selected for such a reputed thing is a big challenge. But the point is, you could be studying and you could be simultaneously earning. Okay, so I'm just repeating. So if you get selected for PhD program under the second one, that is the Scumberger Foundation, a US base, it will be around $50,000 per year, around 37 lakh annually in terms of scholarship that will be covered. So that is where it is. And the third one that you see, PEO International, the details would be given. If you just Google search, their websites will be given. This will apply for scholarships for people from different countries in universities in United States and Canada. So if you, like we said, if you are location specific, you want to go to a particular location, then you can even apply for this particular one. If you want to go to the US, United States, or you want to go to Canada. And the good thing is the PEO International has scope for women whose education has been interrupted. So supposing you have done a master's and you have taken a break for some years for, we women have several reasons as to why we take a break, not just women, but of course generally. But since this is women specific scholarship, so this one PEO has a special grant wherein if women have taken break in their studies, they will be, given certain considerations. This again, after your master's, if you have taken a break, you might even think of considering this if you're interested in going to United States or Canada. Okay, and that way, of course, you also have the Margaret McNamara Memorial Foundation. Again, the scholarship is worth $12,000 okay, and that way again it will apply for countries in United States and Canada. And similarly, you have several other scholarships that is listed, Anita Borg or the L'Oreal scholarship for women. And in fact, the L'Oreal scholarship, okay, the Anita Borg scholarship has tie-up with the offices in Google. With the Google setup. Okay, so that way, in fact, after you get this scholarship, it's basically for people who are interested in computer science and technology. There's no doubt that you will be absorbed. First and foremost, you get a reputed scholarship like that. You need not necessarily go to Google, but then, you have this option of being absorbed into companies like Google as well. Okay, so that is where all of these scholarships come handy, of being directly absorbed into certain companies. And the last one that is mentioned specifically for women, the L'Oreal UNESCO for Women in Science program. This is again specific to science, specific to life sciences, in fact, for PhD and postdoctoral research. And in fact, they have tried to add one more bonus in their program in the footsteps of Marie Curie. Okay, so if anyone is from the science field, you can actually think of trying this for your further studies. Actually, all of this as part of your academics. Can we go to the next slide?
Yeah, sure.
So
And
that
just before you go to the next slide, may I request, as we have just 3 hours of time, so can we detailing it back good for all of us, but I think on time, and if you can go a little brief.
Yeah, so how many minutes do I have now?
Actually, we don't have fixed time, but from now when we look on the time, we will be like giving maximum 20 minutes for each speaker. That is what we decided.
I'll just skim through.
Sure.
So these are subject specific. The one that you see over here is computer science specific. I think I'll ask the organizers to share the PDF file with whoever is interested, so that you can look up and find the details, what all scholarships are available. You can go to the next slide. That slide is computer science specific in terms of scholarship. And the next slide is engineering specific. You can go to the next slide. There are several scholarships which are listed over there. You can get the details, or you can even Google search, you'll find it yourselves. Okay, and the next slide after that, you have scholarships which are specific to law. Students who are interested in law, you can get your master's scholarship over there. And you can go to the next slide. The next slide will be specific to medicine. Can you go to the next slide? Yeah. You'll have a list of scholarships. Of course, it's not just limited to this, you'll get several others, okay? But these are some of the scholarships which are relevant to the field of medicine. Then we can go to the next slide. Again, partnership in terms of, go to the next slide, yeah. So partnership in terms of India and other countries for further studies. You have J.N. Ratan Tata Endowment Fund again, in terms of India and abroad. They will cover up to 3,80,000 as a monthly stipend. So in a month, you will get around 3,80,000 if you get selected for the scholarship. And in fact, this J.N. Ratan Tata Endowment Fund is applicable also for people who are in their mid-career, like people like me, for instance. If I want to, shift and go for research, if you're below 45 years of age, I can apply for this scholarship, and then, I can go for an exchange program, or I can go for research. Okay, so that is where the world and the field of academics is extremely broad for you all to explore. Then the second one that is listed is the Bharat Petroleum Scholarship again. Basically, it will provide for scholarship for 2 years. Okay, so you can find out the details from, their own site. Can we go to the next slide? Then you have English speaking scholarships. I'm sure you must have heard about TOEFL. Okay, this is an exam that you have to give, and then accordingly you will be given scholarship. And that way, in United Kingdom, you have some of the scholarships that I've listed over here. Chevening scholarship is extremely popular. Okay, there are about 700 scholarships that are given every year. So there's so much that is going out. It's just for us to actually dream big and try to achieve all of this. We can go to the next slide. That is like specific to United States of America. I'm sure you must have heard about this as well. The Fulbright Scholarship, again, a reputed one. You have to be aged between 25 to 30 years. But even for mid-career people, there are Fulbright exchange programs that are available. Okay, and we can also apply for Commonwealth country scholarship plans. There are several scholarships that are available under this. We can go to the next slide. Then in France itself, you have several scholarships that are available. You can go into the details and check out. And next slide, the Marie Curie Fellowship, like I mentioned. Amongst us, we have from our Naga community, Rongmai to be specific, we have Chun Ratsulyu Ji Kamai. She is in London Historical Museum, no, Historical Museum of London, I'm not really sure, I'm sorry of the name, but she is a Marie Curie fellow, postdoctoral fellow over there. Okay, so we do have our own very close people who are already availing. Next slide, please. The Marie Curie. Yeah, so generally a Marie Curie fellow can get a gross of around 4.3 to 4.5 lakh approximately per month. It's not annual, okay? It's like 4.3 to 4.5 lakh per month. So that is where, you know, you have so much of avenue, and Marie Curie fellowship is available at different level, okay? PhD, postdoc, so on and so forth. And there are also individual fellowship available under Marie Curie fellowship. And this is one avenue that you can always check out. We can go to the next slide. Another extremely reputed area of scholarship is the Ford Foundation from America. Okay, again, it covers a lot in terms of advanced studies in several fields that you may be interested. So since there's a limitation of time, just look up whatever you're interested in and start preparing and look early. Can we go to the last slide? So that way, of course, you know, it's important if you're in academics, be associated with different projects, have different kind of publication, and also be, you know, socially responsible, because it's not just the marks that people emphasize on 80%, 90%, okay? But if you're trying to avail and get scholarships, it becomes important that you have the merit. Merit as to, in terms of knowledge building, there's something in you that you are willing to contribute, you have the capability to contribute, you have the knowledge to contribute, which will make many of these organizations select you for their scholarship schemes. Okay, so thank you everyone, thank you so much for your patience, and yeah, we can always look up at a later stage for details if required. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Machunwangliu. I understand that we have a little short of time, but you take us through all the entire cycle of academics, and I hope everyone on this meeting got whatever she have told and take us through. So karwe, luga jumbia bay trong question same kanu tak thang mai question and Q&A lang cha. I have mentioned earlier, if you have any question, please post here in a chat box and we will try to figure out. And the other thing is, yes, we will have a recording on this one and it will be available in YouTube. YouTube bi hayom session on recording pura le Antrimwanbut Khwan din om channel bi kal mangzwe. Don't worry. Luga Khambi atun atni Dr. Machunwangliu Shema like question khatja participant run khat ngai ka no ame what is the maximum and minimum course for PhD in any institution? Hay answer pitangzamo.
I will not be leaving. I'll be here. I have a meeting simultaneously, but you can type it in the chat box. I'll reply in the chat box. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So whoever
carry on. I'll reply in the chat box.
Whoever have question, please raise your question in the chat box. So karwe batang sita lang to rezo next be ani we will hear about government sector. Hay government sector no om lang bi bia thang ding no speaker om in brief intro pi thang mang de. Government sector om lang bi bia thang ding no ani om oja ani om speaker George Bariampaan. He is from Makwilongdi Inpui Part 3, presently posted at Gamon, Sapormaina, Saitu, Gamfajol Sub Division, Kangpokpi, Manipur, serving as a postgraduate teacher, lecturer in History Department, Head of Department, Eclibia Model Residential School, Ministry of Tribal Affairs and Hills. Tiga, Aniom Ojama na he will be talking to us about the government sector. So kanle toiriap na tamga biala roi bia thangza nom sip ameda lucia thanglandro mind to thanglandro abakan blang George Bariampaan blang thangroi.
Hello everyone. Me being Zeding Sanufazin.
Sanufazin.
introduction bi anyong moderator na kaswang kakibya thangdroy khalena indaw thanglami ay kaswang kakibya laroy host one mapi dilo ong India ong capital bi ong lamno nampui ong lamno namlial ong no Delhi Students Union na kaswang kak initiative lang lugar in collaboration with All Inpui Students Union haydan tanja bitang no opportunity bitang lang mibing hasding sunkai awom leader khan magpi awom uzaran kswang khame kathainu atida da alang opportunity haida nuk kswang khak bitang bilang chungna ISUD president and her colleagues one senior advisor one members one being ding sunkai. Thank you for having me as the second speaker on the topic government sector. Nimzambi kibathangome langbi topic haya kaswang vast way saye atidada acha niom Dr.Machunwangliu Inka bilen ngai sudroi academic big swang he focus thangdroi atidada tun bom bathang bi aina talan focus thangom nova Inpui run haya Inpui chat Inpuis are very thirsty maranga government sector bi nga ongroi for your information kindly the co-host please on the screen bom height something highlight ni bisane kindly
okay
government sector bi
mu amrubo
okay fine Dare. Okay thank you I will not go to detail I detail kswang accelerate blang bi bakan time hayak swang ras obrak pina okay government sector dang bia question hunukan bi private sector and government sector haya always polite always hay a debating point ami atida the next speaker na private sector big Shem kiba thangam no ne atida aina kiba thangam no agaya aina Shem focus thangam no ba before you decide anything I know in hangom no ba Inpui people are very thirsty taranu hayak guide tarantang amrobo dinukan bi Inpui ron haya twi taranu danga government sector bi sector magbi department khat bisenukan bi Inpui ron tong ma ko ongroi tibrak bina aina focus thangom no ba aina focus thangom no ba Inpui ron taranu nung suiga bataranga piping nga ay ania swanghalin kibya thangme atida da bakan len toino nung suiga ay danga quotation no pithanome if you feel thirsty you will search for a cup of water but if you don't feel thirsty you will never search for water therefore go for a need tibi ania bathang am katak no haya Inpui ro lang pam bathang ambo droibi can you please on this one the next step because decision making biga aina point songha me ti the kini bitang me number 1 is money sian number 2 bi nang ngai ko ngombo point kini bitang point khat answer na if you run for a money you have to go for a private sector if you run for a stable job go for a government sector Atibrak pina different view. Misa nang ay na batay ga nan baka na batay mangak ni ay na batay magan nang na batay ngak ni atibrak pina agay ay kasong kalen stress to life atida da ay na rin thang ba Inpuis haya taran go ong roe dinu government service nam om statistic analyze to hongi roebi nam om statistic analyze to we roebi Inpuis om statistical part via ania kaswang khak so tha omi taja sung via out of 100 only 10 to 15 Zambia ani employment government employer sector be so thago ongroi nurin thangnomi adibra pina most of the students ombening ba aim and target ba landing a job with a high salary as well as job security is a dream of most of the students in the country atiluga nangna thai kamaknu okay please turn on another page. Yes, kaga next slide bisto sang sani next be. Okay, ay na rin hangnon no ba na reminders mi khading ani impui ning buwan magbi college degree college kaluga gai silang bu pam chuan to lang buwan to lang ay reminder ngame belang bi example khat bitang ngame the competition is too tough. The competition is very tough, therefore, all the applicants to the new applicants, candidate the new government sector be notification you have to rush to it because there is a fixed time of release, fixed time of closing the date for the candidate to apply. And it is very, very tough. I example ka pitang me. Belang bahay it is all India level. For example, pina. Major Shem Khumba diga. Patkai Christian College bi unga nukan bi man graduation loy khap nukan bi CDS exam clear to luga. Bom interview round bi hay is it too tough hay question man hay kung lai bra pina man question. Ita nu khatrin hanglamin. It is too tough. Therefore, man toilet bi khuluga bi khodi talu klumna me dinu ani omari le ngasumang be ngasure from testimony. Therefore it is all India level, so the question is very, very tough. Developing job recruitment can be government job recruitment honu can be maybe UPSC SSC exam kusung kami India na conduct to no abaya street hangnu ngam lang ani puron kusung kag target to ong rejo diga. Next slide bi ay patway lamang ula IS on eligibility lamang gatatango please. IAS on eligibility khoy mang gata thango. Okay. Me ta taw la riok sem khat ka thang la riok. Another step khat bita thang o. Okay, benefits. Ay na rin hangom no baya. Misa ka to brek pina. Chuan ja to luga private sector bi ngating mo government bi ngating mo chuan nang na karam si onu karam chuan haya kaswang khak nang na 24/7 bi thanglu ga lung ni mo question khat or you will give a balancing life. One is family mang len kasunge khatna salary mang nilen important focus bilangi tibrak pina haibo balancing haya pithangi bisane diga idin hanum. Number 1 be health ani laina magpi ani pum sari saga onu hadunlen. Number 1 san ka e. Number 2 be nang ay recreation relaxation dugalen Number 2 be life ani kum haya pam to style bi magpi ani akum na kum haya balancing bi pingambo diga idin hanome. Tibrak pina benefits of being a government servant. Benefit jibudo government one katoluga on benefit pa ambo dino ay ko economy benefit biga okay please one slide bikata thango one slide be benefit okay please description number 1 main benefits of government servant tono haya job security is 100% secure. Number 2 be stability and flexibility. Government jobs are very stable and flexible. Number 3 be benefits. Benefit point number 3 biga government autonomy haya pension phange, concession ame, retirement plan ame, benefits like gratuity, salary arrears, pensionable till death. Nang timang san pension salugo lunglange dinu benefit hayroi. 4 bi nang H1 jato thoimang tathang ni point number beli lamanga. Okay. Point number beli. Okay. 4 point be holiday, leave and festival. Nang H1 jato luga koronu Tuhan haya holiday soti phangmak nu magpi bangai nu khat bi entertainment bi khat sui mak e droi binang very serious to luga nom chuan jalang the bening phang troi droi bi nang tension am holang roi tibrak pina ina benefit in hangono ba government chuan to all the government offices do not work on national holidays. You can spend more quality time with your family, get maximum vacation to spend. That is one very important benefit of being a government servant. Number 5 be salary and prestige, respect. Government chon khatoe de bi mi khana to khontoe khalena tulop haya chonglang lang dinojo regular salary till retirement, get monthly salary on time. Example, have a corona covid hongmi during this pandemic issue. Government servant, those who are working in the government sector, their salary is so regular. Happiness is twice joyful when monthly salary is credited regularly in your bank account. Number 6 be pressure. Government want to know pressure working hour normally tension life free. Low working pressure is plus point for the happiness. Tibrak pina haiba point haya aka a host na len point wise ay Shem highlight to thanglam luga aka YouTube bi magbi Shem media bilan highlight to thangni tibrak pina having Shem highlight to thangi dibi sane tibrak pina intun bi the final thought biga ta thango to all the candidates who are starting a new career, try to get all the necessary information that will need to pressure your goal and dreams in life. The ball is in your court. You yourself are responsible to set your own career path. Now you are aware of the career path or government sector or private sector. You should be able to make based on your comfort and preference. Tibra pinakthwai bi amnu link and agencies department one being bahagaba maybe particularly for academic line bi seluroi tibra pin airin amnu haiba agency department thoi bi amnu ran do hailena government sector bi ongnu run nun na choi ongnu portfolios run roi tibra pina something like I'm highlighting like this tibra pina bakanlen toinu nung suiga ai songhalen spent outright tibra pina bibing hanga thango if there is anyone questions related ami dobi aka inbox mangna ina answer pitang la roi bibing ka ding song karo. Thank you so much.
So karwe thangbi sitala rizo. Up next we have military di noom lang bi tiga ni ngai samla jo mibing ka military di noom lang bi bia thang ting no ani on speaker haya Major Shem Khumba SM Indian military tiga SM Indian military nu haya Sena middle recipient Indian army nu man Indian government award hangno mana tiga UPSC na conduct to nu series exam clear to he was commissioned in the year 2008 in Jat Regiment of the Indian Army, and he also served with India's elite counter-terrorist force, National Security Guard, as a Black Cat Commandos instructor. He then served in Rashtriya Rifles in Kashmir as a second in command, where Major Shem Khumba was awarded with Gallantry Award. And currently, he is serving in western part of India. Tiga ni om tuang tunu Major Shem Khumba mana military din om lang biat thona nu ani resan walang pang bia thang ding bo ni ngai sui ga ngai zo blang kan pi thang nu roi.
Hello, Varam ngai su bo.
Ngai suwe.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. First of all, I want to thank Inpui Students Union Delhi and All Inpui Students Union for organizing such a wonderful career guidance seminar and for inviting me to be a part of this seminar. I hope that this seminar will bring positive results in the days to come. Ani alang pitanu topic kaya military amatang bi tin be armed forces. I would rather say armed forces tin be army amatang biya kasem kabya thangalang request to le bisamga. I will try to briefly cover this topic under few heads. Kamakatak pi I will discuss why one should choose armed forces, or for that matter why one should choose army as a career. Number one point be ani pam tu break pena army join to army hayani om career khatuga choose to zubo tino kan bia. It is a totally different organization or occupation, totally different from others. Ani kawat tailag lang mo timi bi bomb armed forces pe unumiom personality haya bomb thodlun bomb khaile haya tailang darka amenu hazamaka discipline timi manners haya armed forces khale army bi ani swangka lo suwe hazamaka adventurous challenging to no, it is not like some other job where you sit in front of a computer or you have to do all those jobs which is monotonous. Armed forces timi we army bi kuno haya swangkat adventurous tulune in every stages. Iloga you will find it challenging at every moment of your life. Bali no point be pam tu break pinani army join to about it is also an honest and upright living. It gives you the opportunity to live an honest life, an upright life without corruption. It also gives you an avenue, an opportunity to prove your competence. Norm capability nang na thai thang nang na proof to nom no haga norm level bing bing nang proof to lang opportunity fangega. It has no political interference. Suppose government service sector to maybe I become an IS officer or I am a other civil officers. Politician no nothing about I frustrate to in Zale Amno. But nang army bi no can be there is no political interference. Even the chief minister cannot do anything as far as I'm concerned. It also keeps you physically and mentally fit.
Major Shem ga nang tika public run nam video share to thangza video bit to za kha bo die za mang no ame bi time e da.
Oh ngare ai kha fall to. Urubo. Channel ni na YouTube pe upload to net so na it's security matters on so na mute to them there. Anyway, that's not a problem. So coming to my 7th point, it keeps you physically, mentally, and emotionally fit. You know, ang IS officer team, maybe IPS officer, IS officer lang, you need not be physically fit, or you know, you can be even crippled, you can be even nakethok nuhang na nukuthok ng IS officer to daiga. See, the army officer ka team, maybe officers in the armed forces, you know, you have to be physically fit, you have to be mentally fit, and you have to be emotionally fit. You know, nothing yep, recruit to Nukanbia, and SSB interview here, Nikatong interview mika. The interview will last for 1 week, you know. Like a psychologist, nothing yep, check to loga. Haimiga, throw him anywhere. You know, he will not commit suicide, or he will not do anything which is negative. Certified to tang when anything is select lang. Career pinapaambo TV, you know, people respect you wherever you go, you know. And yeah, if I have to go to some states, or if I have to cross certain borders, toll gate, toll tax gate cross to nung. Why hang na nating misado na salute to no to kontuno ng losuluniga. Apart from what you get in your battalion or within your organization, it is a manly job. Armed forces bi uno khale, army bi uno haibak, kapay siya suno. Suan khayega. Nupa thok pathabak tiwa no batero na no. You can also become a commission officer. Even ladies can become a commission officer in the army. You know, once you are in the army, the nation comes first, always and every time. Any natural calamity, I mean, can be maybe any communal rights, can be earthquake, can be district administration na handle to ngamang can be state government na handle to ngamang can be. Mania army ding fall into loga army na situation haya soft ngami ganun. Listen now. Once you are in the army, the nation comes first, always and every time. When the nation comes first for you, your perspective, your thinking will be broad. Luning bro alunega, suning bro alunega no. Listen now. These are some of the few reasons why I want to tell you. There are so many other reasons why one should choose armed forces or army as your career. Now, let me also come to how you can become a commissioned officer in the armed forces, or how you can become a class 1 gazette officer in the army. Achia, kamano speaker no na inzanza discuss topic, various topics we discuss with the minum. Ito niya, ay na kabiat hanglat tinuwa tu buti bi. Army bi timi bi armed forces, covering army, navy, and air force. Commission officer team will be class 1 gazette officer to ga UPSC exam thalaga kunwe. There are 2 main exams. One is NDA, which have been the other one is CDS. NDA haina to no kambi thala boti from 16.5 years to till 19.5 years of age. 10+2. No 10+2 lo in the kanbiya nang NDA exam thajay. Naval Academy team be Air Force PC no nang no 10+2 exam via physics and mathematics is compulsory. NDA exam via nang na written thasugloga no SSB interview clear to nang you will be sent to NDA, which is in Khadabaksla, Pune, where you will undergo 3 years of training. And after the completion of 3 years of training, you will be sent to IMA for 1 year. IMA is Indian Military Academy, which is in Dehradun. So 3 years plus 1 year ng training lo kambi, you will be commissioned as a lieutenant, either in Army, Air Force, or Navy. This is na NDA exam thasunu haya. It is a short gazette officer olang zungri ganung. This is na ipuiran sarwan NDA exam thanuam no ami bi try to thango kung rat no exam asya anina MA loiloga graduation loiloga IS exam da thalang kambi IS exam ni thasunga ma khali phangsunga ma ga inhasu numa ba class 12 loi khap tinukan biya UPSC na conduct no exam UPSC na conduct no civil service exam try ma aminung. So you can go for NDA. It is one of the good option. NDA haya thanuam no ame ti 11 12 science law no na ba advantage ame science law mak the art of the thaza if you have the basic elementary knowledge of maths no NDA tasunga mang nu imibi NDA tanang mak nu miron lang like graduation loilet no kan biya opportunities am like no. That is you can go through CDS Combined Defense Services Examination. Haya sia NDA ka sangwan bi thaling ke diye CDSC 1 CDSC 2 ame. Highly pamto lapoti bi graduation any graduate from any recognized board can appear for this exam. But provided Naval Academy team be Air Force be again you need to have physics and mathematics in your 10+2. In the CDSP one is IMA, direct entry IMA, that is Indian Military Academy. The other one is Officers Training Academy in Chennai, which is Short Service Commission. Short Service Commission CDS to be after 10 years you'll be given an option, and so once home tangbia government will give you an option whether you want to opt out or you want to continue. If you want to continue, then you can opt for permanent commission, which is PC, and then you can continue with your service like this. NDA CDS kamagnu entry katailet songhame other entry schemes like ACC no Army Cadet College into naniom Captain Amshan Leron Athanua UPSC through they are true Army Cadet College. Highly once you clear this exam, you will undergo another 4 years of training, and after 4 years of training, you will be commissioned as a lieutenant in the Army or equivalent in Navy and Air Force. ACC kamano SCO tinukha Special Commission Officer no. Sipai bi ongkeng keng no tiloga rifleman tu so one form ka tai no within the age of 28 years to 35 years. Iron nang le government na opportunity pino amega. Balangba Indian Army jabihang na tunya. We are sort of 13,000 army officers in the Indian Army. No, it's not high vacancy. Fill up to tulang. Ngamak pada to some percentage fill up tulang government opportunities pinu try amiga. High kamano entry try taswang kali amay something like university entry scheme danu no college fee recruitment hung law no timi TGC danu timi be technical entry scheme danu technical language pujanu as a class 1 gazette officer armed forces pujanu try mami apa ibing ya Google search tu bi phanglo ni jonge impedance sarwan no na apa bi try to thango ani bakan bahabi tu brano tu magjono. Let me also briefly cover about the promotional aspects. Army binang commission to SUF. Once you are commissioned as an officer, then your equivalent rank will be in the rank of lieutenant. Lieutenant tiba pay level be 7 pay commission be phangi be dia under level 10. This administration be phangi be dia equivalent to SDO, or in police they are equivalent to DSP. After 2 years of your commission service, you will be promoted to the rank of captain. And after completion of 6 years, you'll be promoted to the rank of major. And once you complete 13 years of service, then you'll be promoted to the rank of lieutenant colonel. And after 15 years, based on clearing the board, service selection board, you'll be promoted to the rank of colonel. And hatang bi brigadier major general dan wati batang sangwanong swigat di talang. So even the promotional aspects are quite good in the armed forces once you get commissioned as an officer. And unlike any other services, like IAS team katay service pidanga nang exam thasuno kan bi civil service thanu kan bi, if you are topper during your exam, then you'll remain topper for the rest of your life. In army, it is not like that, you know. At every level, you have to prove yourself. You might be number 1 in ranking during your written exam or during your academies, but you have to prove your worth once you join your battalion. You know, at every level, at every rank, you have to write promotion exam, and you have to prove yourself that you're worth staying in the army. Katay benefits katay. Kaswang ka amen on pay and allowances paan dia armed forces piung nuaya. Dunia kubiano kami, you have a free ration for yourself and canteen facilities. Diloga even pension facilities saya armed forces via service sataymas. We enjoy much better facilities than others. 2004 Tangbia government na NPS introduced the National Pension Scheme, except armed forces. Armed forces say all pension system itu tangga enjoy to mamzonge. This na norm service Tangbia na nang enjoy to know you can opt for armed forces. It is one of the good option. Ja niom ISUD om president na kabiatan tambadanga. We need to have a roadmap. Ani Inpuis society biya graduate taswang kami nung postgraduate lo ini taswang kami. How can a graduate or a postgraduate be unemployed? No, be it government, be it private sector, be it business, whatever you want to choose. But a graduate or postgraduate cannot be unemployed. This is not any roadmap. What do you want in life? What do you want to become in life? Ani armed forces recruitment via anina so tagline haya. Do you have it in you? Nakaw hay ba quality ambo? Do you have it in you? If you think that you have these qualities, if you think that you have the quality to become an officer in the armed forces, please come and join the army or the armed forces as a class 1 gazette officer. Life will be totally different. It is a challenging life, and you will never regret for the rest of your life. I tamga kebiasaan lang mah hay brief. Ngai naloi sanam re question answer maybe you can type me. I'm happy and willing to help you all. Thank you.